See, we got light. Oh, we got a lot of light. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, brethren. Greetings to the 12 tribes scattered into the four corners of the earth, according to the prophecies of the Bible, and to the 144,000 among them who are being prepared to stand in these last days of Babylon's history. Greetings. And to the Gentiles, not of the bloodline, but receiving salvation through the Hebrew Messiah YHWH, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Greetings. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, even today, and the first responders, even today, whose only job is to save lives. And those that pick up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks and parks clean and disease-free. And those that make deliveries for our convenience. And double blessings on the men and women trying to help deliver and rescue the victims of child molestation, who number in the tens of thousands. And pedophilia, and pornography, and child pornography, and prostitution, and child prostitution, and sex slavery, and human trafficking. And double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and the perverts who are involved in this heinous and disgusting industry. Finally, blessings upon the homeless, the people who Babylon has crapped out. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and most importantly, children, victims of homelessness in the United States of America, and millions of people around the earth in worse conditions. Blessings upon them all, for theirs is the kingdom. And greetings, brothers and sisters in the chat. Sister Wade, Brother Joseph, Heavenly Garden, Brothers Lewis, Isha Shama, and Frank, Edmund, and Yashayahu Yisrael out of Tampa, my brother, and Maturity Approach, and my brother Castle King. I'm sure you're in the crowd somewhere. Yakoba Ben Israel, praise the Most High. Greetings to all of you and blessings upon you. We have been studying the book of Revelation, and sadly, we are close to the end of the book of Revelation. And yesterday or last night, we studied the first resurrection. We were talking about the first resurrection, and we're going to kind of finish that up today, the first resurrection, and go into the second resurrection. Righteous is the way. There you go, brother. Second resurrection is the final judgment. So let's talk about this for a second. So first, the first resurrection, brothers and sisters, is all about the righteous. And it's all about creating a new order on the earth, an eternal order. Let me say that again. This is not a temporary order. It's an eternal order. Let's look at Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. Daniel's interpretation of Nebuchadnezzar's dream regarding the Hebrew people, the Israelite nation, the chosen people, and those with them in the kingdom. In Daniel 2:44, in the days of these kings, the Most High of heaven shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Okay, so it shall not be left to other people. So what you're seeing now, and what we're seeing here, is a kingdom that's going to replace the Babylon kingdom that we're now in, and it's going to destroy the Babylon kingdom that we're now in. So let's talk about, as we have studied the first 19 chapters of the book of Revelation, let's talk about the Babylon kingdom. The Babylon kingdom is led by theology, a theological empire. It's a religious empire. It's led by Christianity, Islam and Judaism. Look at the earth. Look at the most dominant, powerful religions. Now, there are people that follow Buddhism and Hinduism, and they number in the tens of millions, but they do not have the influence on the earth that the Christian church has. The power, the money, the influence. And that influence is spread from the worship area into governments, into politics, as far as governments, into entertainment, okay, and into especially economics and banking. The three so-called Abrahamic, and I say so-called because the truth about it is Abraham has nothing to do with Christianity. He has nothing to do with Judaism, and he has nothing to do with Islam. Abraham has nothing to do with them, according to this book. If you really read this book, you will understand none of those religions, Abraham had nothing to do with it. But they're using his name sort of like a name drop to legitimize their religions. People could believe whatever they want. But if you're going to follow this book, you can't believe those things because this book speaks against those things. And I'll give you an example why. The Bible tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 7, Deuteronomy chapter 4, Deuteronomy chapter 14. It tells us in Leviticus chapter 26. It tells us in Isaiah. It tells us in Zechariah. It tells us in Ezekiel. It tells us in Jeremiah that the Most High tells us in Amos and in Hosea that he only chose one people on the whole planet Earth. These are the descendants of Jacob. Those are his only chosen people. Descendants of Jacob. The Bible says very plainly, all other nations serve idols. Yah made the heavens. Psalm 147. He has shown his statutes and judgments to no other people. And when it says shown them, that means he gave it to them verbally, like they heard the voice of the Creator. And he wrote on the stone with his own hands twice. He gave that to one people, no other people. Therefore, there is no Arab prophet in the Bible. Let me just say that again. There's no Arab prophet in the Bible. That's for Islam. Now, they can believe whatever they want. Islam can believe whatever they want. That's their free choice. But don't try to equate it with this and with Abraham, because he never founded no Islam. Abraham was the progenitor of Jacob, and only Jacob's children are the chosen ones. That's number one. Number two, Abraham never founded any religion called Judaism. Judah was in the loins of Abraham. You know, Abraham had Isaac. Isaac had the aforementioned Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, and Jacob had 12 sons. Among them was Judah, out of whom come Messiah. There's no Judaism in the Bible. Abraham didn't create any religion. That's man-made. That whole rule of the first 5 books being Judaism, that's man-made. That's not, this book don't say nothing about that. And there is no white Jesus Christianity in the Bible. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. You can look real hard and you'll find the word Christian 3 times in this whole thick book of 66 books. You'll find the word Christian 3 times. It's a negative connotation. If you want to really know what they called the people, they said followers of the way, or if you really want to translate it correctly, you're going to say messianic, because they were following Messiah. Christos is a Greek term. Jesus is a Greek god. Zeus. Come on, y'all. Ain't no Christianity in here. Messiah did not come to create a new religion. I'm sorry if this is messing with y'all, but this book doesn't support those 3 so-called Abrahamic religions. Don't support it. And that's why, look, listen here. If you're seeing these 3 religions dominate the earth, and we know Satan is dominating the earth, who you think's behind them? Come on, y'all. Come on, baby. Let's get real now. I'm not trying to be fake here. Look. Okay. You know, YouTube has given me some money, but that's from the Knicks channel. That ain't from this side. YouTube has paid me some money for doing some Knicks stuff. Not a lot. Okay, and then I've gotten some money for y'all. It ain't like I'm doing this to get rich, y'all. That ain't happening. Matter of fact, more than likely, they're going to show up and arrest my black behind eventually, okay? But that's okay. I'm not worried about that. But it ain't for nobody's money, baby. I'm telling you right now. So it ain't that. No, I got to answer to the Father Yah. I got to answer the Father Yah, period. End of story. I want him to say, well done. I want Messiah to look at me and say, well done, good and faithful servant, because I didn't violate my conscience in everything I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you according to my conscience what I believe is the truth. I'm not violating my conscience for money or for influence or to control something. Okay? My conscience is clear. You understand? So ain't no Judaism, Christianity, or Islam in this book. They prophesy about the coming of them, but you don't want to know what they say if you really want to know the truth. You know, you don't want to know what they say. Christianity is the God that their fathers knew not, that they put gold and silver in it. That's Christianity, Daniel 11. The great whore of Revelation 17. That's Christianity. The false prophet is the Protestant Christianity, Protestants that failed in their protests and changed their name to evangelical. You don't know what the Bible says. Islam is led by the destroyer. The Bible says Apollyon. Come on now. You don't want to know what it really says. Okay? Please. So they know the three Abrahamic religions dominate the earth, and all three are controlled by the children of Yafet. Even though somebody might say, well, the Arabs are Shemites, religion came from Rome. That brother, the man that there's the prophet of Islam, Muhammad. I mean, if you want to be honest now, he could not read. He could not read. He could not read. He did not read Arabic. Khadijah, his wife, one of his wives, the older woman, she helped him. And guess what she was? A Catholic. Mm-hmm. That's why y'all use beads just like the Catholics. You don't want me to start talking real with y'all. Oh, yes, we do. So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. If you're going to follow this book right here, ain't but one chosen people. They were brown. And they were placed in slavery. And they were scattered beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. And they're in lands where they're in want of all things. They are byword. They can't remember their names, nor where they came from until they awaken. There's only one fit that description on the planet. They came in slave ships with chains on their neck. And they were brown, like ancient Ethiopians and Egyptians. And they would get their women raped. That's all prophesied. And their men would be placed in jails, stacked up. How plain could that be? And they're called bywords, like nigger. Come on. How many fit that description? That's prophecy right there. That's the chosen ones. That's the chosen ones right there. And y'all know who you are. Some of y'all, unfortunately still don't know who they are. That's why they're going crazy out here. They don't know who they are. And some reject who they are to serve one of the three Abrahamic religions that don't exist in this book. Okay, so let's move forward now. We're talking about the second resurrection. and final judgment. So the first resurrection, as we started, is the destruction and annihilation and elimination of Babylon, the religious, political, economic, banking system, the entertainment system, and all the people that built it, destroyed. That's the first resurrection. And the reward to the righteous. We talked about that. Okay. That's the first resurrection, right? Now, the second resurrection is the elimination of Satan himself. The elimination of Satan and everything he represents and everyone who represents him. That's the second one. With a final judgment, because Father Yah is fair. He's going to make you understand why you lost. Okay? He's going to show you in living color every decision you made. Every time your heart was pricked in your conscience. Every time he tried to bring somebody to you to warn you about the way you were going. Every time you decided against truth for your own gain. Every time you were just so selfish, you only cared about yourself. He's going to show you. It's not going to take long. It's going to flash before you in the moment, and you're going to see it all before he throws you into that fire. You're going to know you deserve to be there. Okay? There's no sympathy there, because all the sympathy is gone at that point. Now it's just judgment. See, we are ambassadors for the Messiah, as though Yah did beseech us by you, by Yah, Father, beseech us through Messiah, be reconciled to your Father. Come to your Father now. He's taking this earth. He's going to send his son. He said, sit at my right hand. I'm going to make your enemies your footstool. You're going to see it today. Praise the Most High. He's not playing. See, I don't have no guns, no weapons. I don't have no armies. But my cousin, you better watch my cousin. When my cousin comes, there's going to be a problem. You better watch my cousin. He's about to do this thing. Okay, he's about to do this thing. Okay, so I'm trying to tell y'all, be reconciled to the Father. My cousin's father, he don't play that. Okay, so trying to tell you, be reconciled now while there's a chance. Confess your sins to the Father in the name of his son, Messiah, who is the commander of his heavenly armies. In his name, confess your sins to the Father, and he'll receive you. He'll receive you. You know, right now, he'll receive you and give you his grace. But his time is running out. Not that much more time left. Time is running out, brothers and sisters. And say, we're the last generation. Just telling y'all. Okay? Praise the Most High. Oh, by the way, just wanted, before we get into this deeper here, just some updates. So we're going to Detroit. Memorial Day weekend. Brother Arkawan Banya is being baptized, along with Brother Michael. We got another brother in Detroit getting baptized. And we're going to be in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Flying into Detroit, going to Kalamazoo. We're doing 2 baptisms. Praise the Most High. Then we're going to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's next week, as a matter of fact. The week after Memorial Day weekend, we're going to be in Minneapolis, my grandson's graduation, where we're going to be staying in a hotel in Minneapolis. If anyone wants to get together, let us know. Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's the first week, the first Sabbath in June. We're leaving actually Thursday, that last, right after Memorial Day weekend. Then the following week, we're going to be back in Orlando, trying to help my father and my stepmother get themselves settle some affairs with my dad, and move them into their new place. So we're going to be in Orlando for 2 weeks. That is from the 10th of June to the 24th of June. And so we're going to be there in Orlando, taking care of some business there. If you want to get together, if somebody wants to get together, chop up the word, talk about some other, maybe some Knicks, whatever you want to do, contact us. We'll get in touch with you. We had a real good fellowship with Brother Castle and Brother Alex, Brother Yashayahu. We had some real good fellowship there. when we came there in Orlando, last week. It was a beautiful time. And so we'll be back. We'll be back in Orlando again. And so we'll that's it. So I'm just letting y'all know the schedule. So we are Detroit, and then Minneapolis, and then Orlando. Yeah. So we're going to be there in the next, month. We're going to be there, all those places. Praise the Most High. And then I got to go back to Mexico. I'm going into Yuma, Arizona in July to finish my work on my mouth here. So that's another one, Yuma, Arizona. That's a long way. So those in Phoenix, I can't make it to Phoenix. Yuma, Arizona is like 6 or 7 hours from Phoenix. So yeah, but we're going to be in Yuma, Arizona, going across the border there to Los Algodones to get finishing work done here in July. So yes, it's busy. It's busy this first half of the year. Yeah, you can see it's busy. But again, if y'all want to get together, either Orlando, Minneapolis, Detroit, let us know. We'll connect, hook up, fellowship. Praise the Most High. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to let y'all know that at the beginning of the video. Now, let's get into the word. So now we talked about last night, we talked about Ezekiel 39. Okay, Ezekiel 39. We talked about Ezekiel 39 as the first resurrection, right? And let's look at the end part of Ezekiel 39, because the Most High in the first resurrection, what he is doing is he is explaining to the heathen the story of his people. Right? That's the first resurrection. The heathen that are saved, he's going to be explaining to them the history of his people. Because, and outside the Bible, as you will know, people are messing with history. See, that's one of the things the Bible helps us with. If you trust the word of the Most High, you will see the true history. Because man will try to change, alter the history to suit his purposes. But the Bible tells you the truth. And so here, in the end of Ezekiel 39, the Most High is explaining to the redeemed heathen what happened to his people and why. So let's look at it in Ezekiel chapter 39. I'm going to start at verse 21. I'm going to start at verse 21 and go down to verse 29. Again, this is Father Yah and Messiah explaining the history of the chosen people to the heathen so that they understand. Because a lot of heathen going to be resurrected and not understand. But the Most High is going to save them because of their sincerity to what they knew to be true. Okay, so here in Ezekiel 39, beginning at verse 21, and I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh, their Most High, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people, and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations, then shall they know that I am Yahweh, their Most High, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Most High Yahweh. So he's explaining to Israelites who didn't understand, and he explained to heathen who didn't understand, and he's showing everybody what happened and why. And in these last days, those of us in Babylon will have a clear understanding. More than all the people that existed before us, we will have an understanding of everything that's happening and why. Remember, that's the whole point of the book of Revelation. That's the whole point of it. The revelation of YHWH the Messiah that Yah gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of Yah and of all the things which he saw. So that's why the book of Revelation exists, because you and I, who are in these last days, are being shown things that previous generations never knew, never understood. And it's being unlocked to us now. Okay, the book of Revelation was not unlocked, as we saw when we looked at Revelation 10. It was not unlocked until the whole book of Daniel was unlocked. And that wasn't until the Bible got into what's called officially the last days, which happened after 1844. Okay, and so here we are. And why did I say 1844? For those of us that did the study, we know that the Messiah was prepared. Father was prepared to send him back here in 1843. But the 144,000 was not prepared, and he held it up, and he showed that to us for a purpose. He showed us all of that to let us know that the only thing that needed to be done next is the production and preparation of the 144,000. Okay, that's the only thing left. Okay, everything else was leading up to that, and that's where we're at right now. 144,000 are now on the earth. We're now being prepared. We're now being taught and awakened to who we are and why we are and what's happening next, according to the book of Revelation, as it has shown us. Okay, and so here we are in this time. It's a surreal time. It's a time when prophets wish they were here. It's a time when many wise men from many times before wish they were here. But here we are, you and I, brought into existence in the 21st century, the last century of Babylon. Here we are. Let's work. Now, Ezekiel 38. You remember how in Ezekiel 39, when you read the beginning of it, what did he say there in verse 2? Ezekiel 39, verse 2. Notice what he said in Ezekiel 39, verse 2. And I will turn thee back and leave but what? The sixth part of thee. So here in Ezekiel 39, we're getting a picture of how Gog and Magog, the children of Japhet that ruled this planet, that ruled the three Abrahamic religions, that the children of Japhet will be destroyed, except he's going to reserve a sixth of them. That's the people that are on the earth right now. And we're not talking about people that are dead. We're talking about people that are on the earth right now. When Messiah returns, a sixth are going to be saved. Okay, a sixth of them. Okay, that's who he's going to reserve. And the reason they'll be saved, we know why. Because the 144,000's message will be received. Okay, will be received. It's a large number of people. Not saying they're all going to be alive. Some of them are going to be put to death. In fact, honestly, majority of them are going to be put to death. But they're going to die in that last hour. Remember the parable of the workers? Master came out in the 12th hour of the day to start work, the beginning of the day, and he hired each man for a penny. And then in the 11th hour, the last hour of working for the day, he brought these people and gave them the same penny, and everybody was upset. Why are you getting them the same penny? They just work for an hour. That's representing the people that are going to die at this time for the truth. They're going to get what? The same reward. They weren't around. Maybe even their fathers weren't even part of the help or awakening, but they received the truth at the end. And many of them will pay with their lives. Okay? He's going to save a sixth part of them. That's why we know it's what? The first resurrection. Because there's no redemption in the second resurrection. Y'all following me? There's no redemption in the second resurrection. The second resurrection is judgment. Period. Done. First resurrection is reward. Is reward. Okay. So now he said, I'm going to save a sixth part of y'all. Okay. Now, chapter 38, the second resurrection. He's not saving any of them. And I want you to notice how the Bible outlines the attitude of Gog and Magog in the second resurrection. Watch this. Ezekiel chapter 38. Now we're going to come right back and go back to Revelation for a second. Matter of fact, before we start, let me do that. Let me finish up the first resurrection with the Revelation real quick. So Revelation chapter 19, right? So let's look at 19, and at the end of 19, right, where the beast and the false prophet are taken or captured. That is the leadership of the world powers of religion. You see these guys on TV, they're going to try to run. When Messiah returns, they're going to try to run. They're the ones running, say, hide us from his face. And they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be captured first and thrown into the lake of fire. All of the religious leaders that Satan is using from all of the Abrahamic religions to deceive the earth, they're going to have a problem that day. And let's take a look in Revelation chapter 19, beginning at verse 19 and going down to verse 21. Revelation 19, beginning at verse 19 and going down to verse 21. We're going to come right back to Ezekiel 38 because it's part of the second resurrection. Yeah. All your TD fakes and Creflo dollars and all of these fake, whoever, they're going to have a problem. And you're going to see all these cats in fish hats running. And you know what? They're going to have a problem. Okay. Here we go. And the beast, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. So they were gathered together. Armageddon. They gathered together in the Hebrew tongue. Armageddon, right? So what did they gather together for? They gathered, what did it say? To make war. Remember now, we saw that in Ezekiel 39. They come with weapons. But their weapons not going to help them. Right? But that's what they're coming for. So they gathered together to make war. Okay. This is all the movies that you see when aliens come from outer space. You know all of these movies they're putting out now where something hitting the earth and they got to stop it, right? How many? They do a lot. They've been like over the last 20 years. There've been a lot of movies where you've been seeing aliens come to the earth, or you're seeing meteors come to the earth, or you're seeing some dynamic thing coming to the earth, and they're always trying to tell you how they're going to save the earth from this thing that's coming. That's Satan preparing his people for what's coming. You see that? Y'all see all of the movies, they do that. There's a lot of movies like that. I can't even tell you all the names, but it's the same theme. Something's coming from outer space. We have to save the earth. And you get a Bruce Willis or somebody out there, trying to save the earth, right? With some weapon they have, right? There's some weapon, super weapon they have that's going to save the earth. Okay? There you go. So that's Satan preparing his people. Mentally preparing his people for what they're going to see. So what are they going to do? They said they're going to gather armies to fight, just like they do in those movies. You see that? Just like they do in those movies. They'll gather armies to fight. This thing is coming from outer space. We have to fight it. It's going to destroy the earth. It is going to destroy the earth. It's going to destroy the whole Babylon system and reestablish a kingdom of righteousness. But see, they don't tell you that in the movies, do they? Yeah. See, they don't tell you that in the movies, right? Okay, we're going to see what happens. Bible's already showing us what's really going to happen. So they gathered together to make war against Messiah. Think about that now. If you told people that follow Christianity, all of y'all going to gather together against Jesus to fight against him, they would tell you crazy, right? They would tell you crazy. And look what it says here. It says it right there. Verse 19, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Who is it sitting on the earth? The King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So the world is going to be gathered against Messiah to make war with him. And again, that goes back to Ezekiel 39. We saw the result. Dead bodies going to be everywhere. And we're going to hire people to pick them up and bring them to the valley of Hamon-Gog for final disposal. Okay, wait a minute. Verse 20. And the beast was taken, that is captured. The word taken means captured. And with him, the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. They're not even going to be put to death before that. They're going to be cast alive into a lake of fire, brethren. Disintegrated in the lake of fire. All the religious leaders. You see, brothers and sisters, that's why, once when I worked in the bank, I was managing the bank, and several times I would have sisters, Hebrew sisters, walking into my bank asking for loans. For what? The loans so that they could start a church. They felt like they were called to lead a church. And it was believe me, it was all about getting 501c3 money. That's all it was about. Okay. And so you get all of these people trying to be leaders and try to run churches. They don't understand. They really don't know what they're doing. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. In Bible times, in the times when our fathers were on the land, if a false prophet rose up and he told a false prophecy, he was put to death. Okay. So now people can just run their mouth all they want. But the Most High don't take it as no joke when you claim to be representing him to get money and power and influence. Especially if you got no business in his pulpit. It's a serious thing. And he's going to take it seriously. Cast alive into a lake of fire and brimstone. Be careful when you think you're supposed to be teaching the word of the Most High, or you claim you think you are a prophet. Be careful. Be careful. It's a very, very serious thing. Father does not take it lightly when you're claiming to represent his name. You see the commandment, do not take his name in vain. It doesn't mean calling out Jesus Christ. That's not what it means. It means you're claiming to represent him, and you are misrepresenting him. That's what it means, which means you are an unrepentant sinner. The Bible calls Babylon a whore that's bold. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done no transgression. That's the attitude of the false prophets. Okay? They don't have no conscience. It's not about the glory of Father Yah. It's about their glory. After they master the devil. He takes that very seriously. Let's continue. Verse 21. And the remnant, that is the rest that weren't religious leaders, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So the rest of them going to die by the sword. But the leaders of the religious powers of this earth that were led by Satan, the dragon's people, the beast and the false prophet, they're going to suffer the second death in the first resurrection. They're not coming back from that. Okay, that's it. You're not going to see them anymore. Bye-bye. All right. Revelation chapter 20. It continues. The first resurrection actually continues into Revelation chapter 20. It goes all the way down to verse 6. So from chapter 20, from verse 1 to verse 6 is still the first resurrection. So you will see what happened to Satan, the dragon. You saw what happened to the beast and the false prophet. Notice the dragon didn't get thrown in the lake of fire yet. Watch. Revelation 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season. Let's let Isaiah also show us this. Okay, Isaiah chapter 14 is a second witness to what we just read in Revelation chapter 20. You see how the prophets tell us what's getting ready to happen? Isaiah chapter 14 will give us a second witness to this. Isaiah 14. Let's begin at verse 12. Isaiah 14, beginning at verse 12, down to verse 20. Okay, Isaiah 14, 12 through 20. Let's read this little section. It's definitely the sister text to what we just read. Okay. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Watch what it says, though. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Right? Thou shalt be brought. Hell is the grave. That's what hell is in the Bible. It's Hades, the grave. And the pit is a grave. So in other words, the devil going to be put in the death grave for 1,000 years. Okay? Wait. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shape nations, that did shape kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, and opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as a raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as the carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. Seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. There you go. That's the bottomless pit. It's the grave. It's earth. It represents death. Okay? And that's why it talks about beasts or world powers rising out of the bottomless pit, which represents the grave of earth, the death, the hell. This whole earth is hell. Grave, Hades. That's what it is. Our Satan's going to be placed in a grave for 1,000 years, put to sleep where he can't tempt anybody. Him and all his angels. And they'll be resurrected in this second resurrection. Okay, let's go back to Revelation chapter 20. Okay, let's go back and read again verse 3. Let's start at verse 3, Revelation 20, verse 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season. Okay, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of YHWH and for the word of Yah, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Messiah 1,000 years. All the martyrs. We talked about the sixth part of the heathen, along with all of us that are going to give our lives for this truth. This is coming now, brethren. This is coming. Remember, we're going to have all three of these so-called Abrahamic religions against us. With all their power, all their satanic power, they're going to be against us. And you see what they're doing out here, what some of these Muslims have done to people out here. Okay, you see what they've done. Come about religion of peace and stabbing up people and cutting their heads off and such. That's the religion of peace, right? It's all good. But our brethren that suffer these deaths, they're going to reign with Messiah 1,000 years. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Verse 5. Revelation 20, verse 5. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of Yah and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Notice it said, the second death have no power. Remember that phrase as we go through finishing this study today. It said the second death hath no power on those that were in the first resurrection. Also, I want you to think about what happened when Nebuchadnezzar threw Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah into a fiery furnace. Read that in Daniel chapter 3. Remember what happened when he threw them in the fiery furnace. Remember the results. Remember the effect of the fire on them and on the clothes they were wearing and things of that nature. Because now you'll understand a little bit when it says the second death hath no power on those that were resurrected in the first resurrection. You're going to understand that as we go forward. But let's go now, Ezekiel chapter 38. Ezekiel chapter 38. Ezekiel 38, beginning at verse 1. This is a different scene than Ezekiel 39. Ezekiel 38, beginning at verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, Set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So he's going to turn you back. You're not going to be successful, Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. That is the chief prince of the children of Yafet. I'm going to turn you back. And you're going to have people with you. Look, verse 5. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them. All of them shielded with shielded helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah. These are all in the north parts. It says it right there. Of the north quarter, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Verse 8, watch what it said. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years shalt thou come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So they're going to come up. We're going to have been in the land and on the earth for 1,000 years. 1,000 years. And they're going to be brought forth, and they're going to see what everything looks like. Okay? And they're going to be brought forth with the same mindset that they died with. So you think about it. What is the mindset of the leaders of the darkness of this world? Well, we saw a part of it, right? When we looked at Isaiah 14, we saw the mindset of Satan. I'm going to be God, right? That's the mindset. Well, that's the mindset. That's his teaching to all his followers. And so he talks about the chief of the people. They're going to be up. You're going to see your religious leaders. You're going to see your military leaders. You're going to see political leaders. And their object is to take over, to discover the kingdom. And so their object is to come and take it and destroy everything that stops them. That's how they died. That's how they're going to be resurrected. All right. And so it says, after many days thou shalt be visited. Remember, it says they're going to rest. The rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. Blessed is he that had part in the first resurrection. Remember that? So he said, after many days, you're going to be visited. In the latter years, you're going to come back and you're going to see well-built towns, houses that we built, living peacefully, right? They discover you. Isn't that correct? You see what they do when they discover you, right? Once they discover you, you know what's next. So that's what's going to happen here. They're going to resurrect. They're going to see everything around them, how beautiful it is, how lush it is, how it has changed since they died. And they're going to see the city and the people of the land, the chosen ones, and they're going to discover it. Okay, let's see what happens. Ezekiel chapter 38. Watch verse 9. Watch carefully, verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee, covering the whole earth. Why? Because they outnumber the redeemed by many times. They outnumber the redeemed. That's going to be part of Satan's argument. You know, man always thinks he got more power, right? And anytime Satan takes power, what do? We gang up on people. They hide behind sheets. They do whatever, but they try to have the advantage militarily and in numbers. And so he's going to see that they have the advantage militarily and in numbers. They got all of these weapons. They're going to have developed weapons. They're going to have time to do that. They're going to develop their weapons. They're going to have the numbers by far. Let's compare what we just read there to Revelation chapter 20. Let's look at Revelation chapter 20 and see what it says. Revelation 20. Let's read verse 7, 8, and 9. Revelation 27, 8, and 9. Notice what it says here. And notice the number of them. How many are there? And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. He'll be resurrected. Okay. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. Okay. And they went up on the breadth of the earth. That's how many of them there are. They went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city. You see that? The beloved city, New Jerusalem. So they would camp about the saints. They cover the breadth of the whole earth, and they're coming to the city. They only need one thing out the city, right? They only need one thing out the city. They want to eat of the tree of life. That's all that Satan requires. They want to get to the city and eat of the tree of life, and they want to take everything, destroy, discover it, right? And they compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city, and fire came from Yah out of heaven and devoured them. So we know what's going to happen to them, but they're going to think they could take the city. It is their last opportunity at existence, to exist. See, and it comes back to that. Remember what did Father tell Moses? Tell my people, I exist, that I exist. Moses, they knew me by Yah Al Shaddai, or Yah, or Most High Almighty. But by my name, Yah exists. They didn't know me. Yah exists. And the people that come against him are going to cease to exist. You know, the Bible says, we shall diligently consider their place, and it shall not be. It shall not be. Okay, so Yah exists, but his enemies will cease to exist, because existence only happens by Yah. Does that make sense, brethren? To exist means you have been created by Yah. If you don't acknowledge your creator, or if you fight against the one who created you, he will cause you to what? Cease to exist. Because he exists forever. He says, I am a higher, a shah, a higher. I exist that I exist. Yah exists. Yahweh. Yah exists. Okay? Yah exists. And the Bible say, he that cometh to Yah must believe that what? He is. He exists. You must acknowledge his existence. Satan has been fighting for multiple centuries, multiple millennium, many millennium, to cause the people to believe that Yah doesn't exist. And that's why he's also trying to wipe out Yah's chosen, because we are evidence that he exists. So the second resurrection is about the cessation of existence of anything that opposes Yah, who exists and who gives existence to everything that does exist. Okay, so anything opposing that power to create into existence will be eliminated from existence, because existence belongs to Yah. See, that's how people don't understand. Well, they're going to burn forever and live forever. They're going to live forever. That means you exist. No, you're going to cease to exist. Oh, you're going to suffer? Yeah. Because you know, Satan brought suffering. It's only right that he suffer. He going to suffer. And all with him going to suffer. But they will eventually cease to exist. You cannot be allowed to exist on the planet when you're fighting against the origin of what makes existence. Does that make sense, y'all? That's what people don't understand in Christianity when they teach in this eternal burning hell, eternal fire, people going to stay there forever. No, they be existing. They're going to cease to exist. He's not going to let you exist when you're fighting against him that gave you existence. Okay, praise the Most High. So now, Ezekiel 38. Watch now. We stopped at verse 9, back to Ezekiel 38. We stopped at verse 9, so let's go back from verse 9 and watch the thought of the people that are trying to discover the kingdom. Watch how they think, because it's going to tell you, you're going to see what we already know. Okay, just from, look, even if you don't read the Most High's word, right, and you understand who rules this earth, you may not understand them as the children of the effect, but you know who rules this earth in terms of religion, economics, and politics, right? You know who rules this earth. So when you see it, watch the thought here. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 9 and 10. Ezekiel 38, 9 and 10. Watch how they think. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Yahweh. It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. What's the evil thought? Verse 11. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at ease, that at rest, that dwell safely. All of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. In other words, we could what? Discover it. They're without protection. We are more than them. We can take what they own. Isn't that what happened to the Indians in America, North America? The people come here from Gog and Magog, from Japhet's children. They come here and they say, oh, they're in teepees. They ain't even got walls up around their cities. They're not even prepared for us. We got habergeons and swords and guns. They're not ready for us. We could just take the land. We discovered it. Isn't that what Christopher Columbus thought when he come to all of these places? Boricua, Española, the land that is now Jamaica and Cuba. Didn't he say that when he came there and saw it? And he said, oh, man, they're not ready for us at all. We can discover it. Didn't he? That's what they're going to do here. They're going to come up in the second resurrection. They're going to see. There's no walls around our villages. Why? We don't need no walls. There's nobody threatening us for 1,000 years. So they're going to say, oh, man, they're unprotected. They're big because we're going to have grown. They're big, but they're unprotected. They're giant, but we could take them. There's more of us. We could take them. We're going to think an evil thought. Okay? We could take them. You understand? They're big and strong, but there's more of us. And we got weapons. We could take them. They're not protected at all. They were at rest. See? That's the same thought. You know now, you understand, see? So that's the thought that the children of Japhet have had when they went to North America and Central America. Now, it wasn't even called that then. South America, and of course, Africa. When they went to Australia, that's the thought. They showed up in them places. They discovered them, and people were there, and they were unarmed, unprepared for war. They weren't expecting you to show up on their shores and kill them all. But that's what you did. Okay, so here we are again. There's a resurrection. They're looking around. They're seeing the purity of the earth after 1,000 years with them not on it. And then they're saying, man, look at this. We can plant, we could build, we could take over. We just got to get rid of them. And they're unprotected. They have no walls around their villages. They built houses. They got no protection. They got no weapons. They're pretty big, but we could take them. There's lots more of us than them. That's the thing. You see, they're going to think an evil thought. See, they can take it. And that's no different. Like we said, that's the thing about it that astounds me. It's no different than what we've been seeing for the last 2,000 plus years on the planet. It's no different from what we've been seeing. And everybody that wants to understand and wants to receive the truth in their conscience knows I'm telling you the truth. Everybody, whether you are the children of Japhet or you of Ham or you of Shem, you know I'm telling you the truth. You've seen, history has shown us this for 2,000 plus years. Okay, for 2,000 plus years, we've been seeing it. And here in the second resurrection, of course, it's only natural. Literally, it's only natural that they're going to think that way again. They don't go into the grave with any repentance. So they coming up the same way they went down. They coming up with the same thought. Okay, so that's what they say. It says they're going to think an evil thought. See that? Okay, now, and I'm going to go up to the land of unwalled villages, them that are at rest, dwell safely, without walls, neither bars nor gates. Oh, we're going to take that land. Oh, we're going to get to that tree. Oh, we're going to get there. Okay, let's continue. Verse 12. Why are they doing it? What's the purpose? Verse 12. Ezekiel 38, verse 12. Why are they doing this? Why are they looking at it, spying it out and seeing that there's no protection? Verse 12. To take a spoil and to take a prey and to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. That's what they're going to do. Discover it. We've seen that movie before. They're going to discover it. See how the Bible shows you how it really is? You're not imagining what you have been seeing for 2,000 years. People have been in denial about it. There's a lot of children of Yefet that are in denial that they've ever done anything wrong. Well, the Bible begs to differ. The Bible begs to differ. And it's going to show you how they are. That's why, brothers and sisters, we are ambassadors for Messiah. As though Yah did by us beseech you. Turn back to your Father before it's too late. Surrender to the righteousness, the perfect righteousness of our Father. Understand who his chosen people are and what has happened to them. Reconcile through Messiah to a Father before it's too late. Because too late is moving forward very quickly. Okay, very quickly. You can see it. Here it is right here in the word. Praise the Most High. Okay, that's why they are discovered. To take a spoil. Well, that's not anything new. Okay, to turn their hands on people that they think are unwalled, unprotected, with riches and land and riches and fruits and vegetables and meats and animals. And oh, we could just kill it. We could take the skins of them animals and we could do everything. Oh, that's going to be worth money. We can take the gold out their land. They've been used to that. But they're going to have a problem this time. In fact, let's do this. I'm going to take a short break because I want to go through this last part very, very carefully. So take a short break. We're at verse 12. We're going to come back. Ezekiel 38, verse 12, second resurrection. We're going to do a part 2. It's now 12:36. I'm looking at the right thing. It's 12:36 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to come back at 1 p.m. We're going to come back at 1 p.m. and we're going to continue this. I just want to take a break now. So we're going to take a short break and come back at 1 o'clock Washington, D.C. time and finish studying the second resurrection. But now, see, I think because I left y'all a lot here, you can see the parallel. It's so clearly obvious, right? And you're going to see more as we already see the end. That's what's going to happen. But let's read it. Let's discover it. Praise the Most High. So we'll be back at 1 p.m. in 23 minutes from now. 1 p.m. part 2. I'm going to end this stream and start a new one. We'll be back. Praise the Most High. Shalom.